Hello and welcome to Kentucky Brew Reviews. I'm Radar.
Special K, and we're finally getting around to doing our benchmarks. This is the first one of the series.
Do the spirit fingers. Come on, yeah.
Benchmark small batch. So the regular benchmarks amount between, depending on where you get it, between $8.50 and $10 a bottle. The small batch is $17.99. Sounds like a lot, but I think it's one of the cheapest small batches I've ever seen.
It's really surprisingly cheap, but also I just never expected to see benchmark and small batch.
You know, it was all us.
On the same, yeah. So
I like to think we were a huge contributing factor because we push benchmark hard on this show. We don't get paid for it. We should. We should at least get free benchmark. Like
that would be all right.
A lifetime supply of benchmark. Now their new series, they came up with 5 or 6 new bourbons. It ranges from small batch to barrel select to full proof and stuff like that. Top floor, which is going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And they're all between the prices of $12 to about $24, which is insane. Bourbon, super cheap. So color, it's what you'd expect.
Yeah, it's actually surprisingly enough, it's this color.
Well, it's a little lighter in the glass.
It is, but that's just because the glass isn't nearly as wide as the bottle. Oh, yep.
It's a little hot on that nose there.
Warm.
It's 45% alcohol by volume or 90 proof.
It smells kind of vanilla-y.
Yeah, burning the old eyeballs there.
That's really the only scent that I'm getting, apart from, boy, it's warm. Boy, it smells hot. I mean, it's a small batch. I have to. That's a strange, peachy scent. Why does it smell like peaches?
Did you use my hand soap? Because it's peach flavored.
I have not, no.
Okay.
Does smell like peaches, though.
Hint of peaches.
Bread.
Crust. Tiny bit of wood.
Bread crust.
Tiny bit of wood. Let's do it.
I'm okay with this. I mean, it's sour.
It's a wee bit hot.
It is a wee bit hot.
Nothing bad in the flavor, though.
I mean, it's more expensive than Benchmark. Benchmark's already not offensive, so I was expecting that. It's very vanilla-y still.
Yeah, it's pretty vanilla-y. It's not as sweet as I was expecting it to be. There's like virtually, it's if you're used to like sweeter bourbons, like this doesn't have hardly any sweetness to it, which I kind of like. Meaning it would mix well with stuff.
Oh, everything. It's very smooth. It's very inoffensive.
I won't say it has the most pronounced flavor ever. I mean, it's pretty. The flavors aren't as strong as you get in some other bourbons. I'll say that.
Have you ever been to a Tandy's leather store?
I worked at a Radio Shack, of course. Tandy, they were the same thing. They were the
same
company.
Okay.
Tandy Leather was originally the owner of Radio Shack.
Okay. So, okay.
It was a leather company.
Anyways,
they made straps.
Think about how it smells when you first walk in, when that like whoosh of like leatheriness hits you. Does that?
I get a
kind of. It tastes kind of like a Tandy's leather shop smells.
It's a little leathery, yeah. So the flavor, like I said, is not as pronounced as some of the bourbons. It's subtle. All the flavors are kind of subtle. It's a little hot on the tongue, but there's nothing bad in the flavor. I don't love it, but I think it's definitely, as far as small batches go, I wouldn't put it up there with like Four Roses small batch, but again, I can't think of any other small batches that are under sub $20. Can you?
No, but think about it this way. $17, you said? Versus $25.
Yeah.
Is it? I'm trying to decide if it's worth that step up in price, and I'm thinking it is.
I would say yes. I would pay the extra to get the Four Roses, but I don't think this is bad by any means.
No, you could definitely have this in your bar.
So as far as the sipper goes, I'm gonna go with the 6. I'll go with 6.5. I'll go 6.5. I think it's above average. You know, price is the selling point on this bourbon. There's nothing really offensive in the flavor, but the flavor is subtle. It's not super strong. It's not very bourbon-y. It's not what you'd expect. They're all just kind of muted, I would say. That's the word I was looking for, a little bit muted.
Yeah. It's very sour. It's very... good choice. It's very sour. It's very very hot. Those are the main flavors that you get out of it. To be honest, I think really just spend the extra money, and you could probably. I think this matches closer 1-to-1 with like Maker's Mark. Just regular Maker's Mark. Not as much cherry. Well, there's no cherry in this.
$29 bottle.
Yeah. No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
It's $25 a bottle.
And it's about $29 a bottle.
Either way, I think this is closer to the regular Maker's Mark than it is to the
I agree with your
small batch of Four Roses. Small batch of Four Roses isn't really similar to this.
I can see what you're saying there because a lot of people like Maker's Mark, and I feel like the flavors are pretty weak and muted on Maker's Mark as well. I get what you're saying. It's not very hot, but it's a pretty hot bourbon. It's pretty hot.
It's just there's
bourbon,
lots of cherry in that. Anyways, I think I'll give this a 6. This is a good bourbon. I'm not mad that we have it on the bar.
That's different.
Is it now?
It definitely brought out a lot of the oakiness in there.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of vanilla. I get a lot of oak in there, man. That really, really turned it on. Sometimes mixers help, and I think in this case,
it's like you watered it down a bit too.
Oh yeah. I do get more leather in there. Yes.
I'm prepared for this now. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you just needed some water. Maybe it just needs to be, what's the 90 proof? It's not that.
90 proof's high, but it's not that high.
It's not that high, yeah. 90 proof, you could just add a little water to it and it would be down to the regular 35 to 40 range.
That's where this shines at as a mixer.
Definitely.
So it didn't have any bad flavors in there, but when you mix it, it get a lot of vanilla, a lot more oak in there.
It really opens up all the flavors that you would expect for a small batch to have.
8.
I'm
giving it an 8 as a mixer.
This is a very good mixer. I think I am going to give it a 7.5. I'm still a little bit irritated that for what it is, it costs $17.
That's not that bad, though.
It's not terrible, but you could just have regular Benchmark.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it's that much better than regular Benchmark. I don't think it's better than regular Benchmark, actually, at all, honestly.
It's almost a different thing. This is way hotter.
Yeah.
And weirdly smells like leather, or tastes like leather. How is it that Tandy's leather outlived Radio Shack?
I don't know what the deal is with Tandy Leather still existing, but Radio Shack was originally Tandy Leathers. If you look them up, that's why all their computers were called Tandys in the 80s.
Oh.
Do you remember Tandy computers?
That makes more sense.
Yeah, it's weird.
Connecting the dots.
Radio Shack started, keep in mind Tandy Leather started before electronics.
Yeah, but how many people have leather products or leather working things in their home?
Being a veteran Radio Shack employee that no longer exists, they show us the history of how it started.
Oh, God.
So what happened was, before electronics were a thing, radios had just came out, and handheld radios were popular. So
old man.
So Tandy Leather made leather cases for radios and made straps for radios. So they started selling radios out of their stores as well as their leather products. That's how Radio Shack became Radio Shack from Tandy Leather. Yeah.
I just picture this. There's this old man, he's like lacing together some sort of leather good, and he's like, one day I'm gonna stop putting together bullet belts, and I'm gonna start selling computers.
Yeah, well, I think Radio Shack, it's an old company. Tandy Leather is an old company. You're talking, I think almost 100 years old.
How many people do you know that have leatherworking stuff in their house versus how many people do you know who own a soldering iron?
Yeah, go to the 1930s and repeat that.
But it's now 2000s. We're in the 2000s.
2020s.
2020s. That's...
You're 20 years behind.
It's still a 2000s. We're in the correct century. Now, millennium. Either way.
All right, well, that'll be for the other channel. We'll rant about that. Do you recommend it?
No.
Uh,
Not even a little bit.
I would skip this one. You can get regular benchmark.
Absolutely.
Or if you want a small batch, spend the extra $8 and get 4 rows of small batch. Now, that's not to say the other ones are going to be bad or good. I'm still happy that I tried it. It still is. I'm not it's still good. It's just
I'm pleased that we have it on the shelf because we have the collection of benchmark properties.
So whenever somebody says they want a bourbon and Coke, I'm going to be like, here you go. Because that's a good
It's
choice.
a really good mix with bourbon and Coke, yeah.
And it doesn't break the bank. I have a feeling that these products are going to be hard to find very soon.
Probably, yeah. Well, if the other ones are like this one, probably. Yeah. I 100% see that.
Yeah, I feel like this. I started with this one because I thought it was going to be the weakest one, honestly. So we'll see.
You might have been right.
All right, well, that's been our episode. If there's something you'd like to see on the channel, you can leave a comment down below. Don't forget to hit that like button. I'm Special K.
And I'm Radar.
Thanks for
watching.